So, hi Dr. McAdams, this is the Greek presentation. We're going to tell you about what we did. Just kind of give you a short synopsis. We communicated mostly by email at first, and then we kind of created a pattern of meeting on Sundays. I think it was every Sunday. Just about. I wasn't able to make it to all of them, but I know that those seemed to be pretty productive from what it sounded like. And eventually we were able to figure out a way to meet in individual groups and kind of iron out the rest of the presentation. And we ended up using Prezi for our slides. I think our presentation went approximately 10, no, it's not 10 minutes.
It
60
was an
minutes.
hour, yeah.
So about an hour.
precisely.
It went really well. There wasn't a whole outpouring of Greek students that showed up, but still went pretty well. The topic me and Kylie covered was self-esteem, self-concept, and I'm going to show you some of our slides here. The topic went really well. Kylie kind of went over the idea of self-concept. I went over the idea of self-esteem, tried to appreciate the importance of how important perceptions are and how not important they are. And it's important to know who you are as a person, but it's also important to know that other people are going to form concepts of you no matter what you do. We talked about all those ideas. I don't know. It seemed like I said, it seemed to go really well. Nobody booed us. Kylie and I met a couple times at Starbucks, and we kind of ironed out our presentation there. And we decided what we were going to talk about, what specifically in the book was going to pertain to our subject matter.
For your guys'
For our specific subject matter, self-concept, self-esteem. And that's kind of the synopsis of that. It went really well.
I think it was really helpful how when we were kind of developing our presentation for all of this, we all kind of decided on 4 main topics to talk about, and we each, like there are 8 of us in the group, so 2 people for each. George and I ended up getting communication, which is up there somewhere.
Was it going fast enough?
And so when I think mid-semester, when we all started splitting off and doing our own topics together, George and I would meet in the library and kind of do more of the research on all that sort of stuff. So we found this great video called like, It's Not About the Nail. It's like, I think it's 1 back. Yeah. So we played this for the students, and it kind of shows this silly scenario, like this male talking and being more instrumental in his conversation, and this female being more expressive. And so we talked about that and kind of broke it down according to the model that we have in the book, and we used a lot of research from the textbook too, and discussed our communication and how that's effective in relationships.
And then I did this, well, I did a couple things for the presentation. I'm further in. There we go. So I covered the intro for us, basically hosted the conference, if you will, got the presentation started. And then I came back in to do the speaking portion on the 3rd subgroup section, which was healthy relationships versus unhealthy relationships. In terms of research, Carly and I actually ended up only needing to meet once outside of the regular meetings. We got our research done, or I should say our game plan done, then did our research. She did pretty much all the PowerPoint work, and so I focused mainly on creating my speech after she helped with the research, and then switching into basically just doing some of the final editing and whatnot in terms of like what our speech would do, transitions with the group and whatnot. As far as the actual presentation went, I think it went pretty well. We were a little rushed at the beginning of the presentation, so I actually did some extemporaneous when I did my presentation, and did about 15 minutes on healthy and unhealthy relationships. Tried to keep people interested in it. We mainly focused on let's see here, we had the universal applicability, defined healthy relationships versus unhealthy relationships. We focused on the 4 different types of love that exist within relationships, so we defined and expressed the differences between things like fatuous love versus consummate love. Additionally, I also switched into talking about hookup culture and trying to determine whether or not that was something that would be considered to be a healthy relationship versus an unhealthy relationship, concluding that primarily the hookup culture is an unhealthy version of relationships and leads to less satisfaction for people overall. We also talked a little bit about STDs and the perceptions that people have in terms of them feeling that they're invulnerable to these types of issues. pretty much it as far as the presentation went. Our Q&A was pretty short, though the audience did ask a couple of questions, and then after my part, we had Shelby who did her part of the presentation on
Yeah, I pretty much talked about the relationship myths, schemas, and I didn't really use as much of the book as the other groups did. I kind of went online and did research, and Megan was in my group as well, and we both looked online for the top 10 or top 6 relationship myths that college students believe, and basically what we did is we listed them up there, and then I basically just had a little bit of time where I kind of broke each one down and said, look, I know that you believe this, I know that you've been believing this, but guess what, that's not going to be very healthy. And then Angela, who was our go-to Greek person, asked me to talk a little bit about consent, sexual assault, and rape, which was kind of a darker topic, but what I did is I went to the FBI website and I got the definitions of each of those things so that I could, legally display them and explain, what they were. Instead of, there being any sort of a bias, it was just legally, here's the definition. And then I included a video at the end, which was the same guy that I know that we showed you in the video of the nice guy perspective. And so it was the same guy, and he was doing a response to a video about a guy who said that basically the video is called Don't Rape. And so pretty much just let the guy talk about the perceptions of rape and how to cap it and basically explain it as a whole. And so the video, and then so basically our group did really well, and I think the presentation went over well. We had a lot less people than we thought. And so the presentation went a lot better than I think anybody was expecting, and it went smoothly. Not a lot of questions and answers, but there was definitely people involved. So that was your group 1, Greeks, done.